You are watching
Trinity Episcopal School Production Network. TESPN.
Welcome to this week's TESPN Podcast, and we're joined by three field hockey players here. Shep Ramsey, Darcy Kopsinis, they're both seniors. Karsin Beatty, who is a junior, although it feels like she's been here a long time. And then my TESPN colleague, Hagen Andrew, is back on the podcast this week. And just wanted to start by asking you all, as we film this, you're less than 48 hours removed from a great 5-1 win over Cape Henry. That's a team that y'all had lost to last year. So why do you think you were able to have so much more success this year against them? And was that a game that y'all really had prioritized because of the result last year?
Yeah, Cape Henry's known to be a really aggressive team, so we definitely went into the game knowing that, and just kind of came out strong. We also changed a little bit of stuff up with our formation, which I think made a huge difference in the win.
Yeah, definitely. I think last year we kind of went into that game a little overconfident, and we knew that this year that could not be our mindset at all. And so we went into that game prepared for a good fight. And I think that the way we played definitely reflected that, and we worked really well as a team. Our ball movement was probably the best it's been so far this season.
Yeah, and I think historically our team, usually the first quarter we don't come out as strong. And I feel like Wednesday we definitely came out super strong the first quarter. It was probably one of our best quarters.
Yeah, I actually remember watching the game down there last year on their stream, and I'm pretty sure we got behind very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then had a ton of chances and couldn't score, and then they had a counter. That was a tough one. I do remember watching that one.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a follow-up question, because Shep and Darcy, as seniors who've been on the team for 4 years, Karsin, a junior, but you're a 3-year starter. You all are really in a leadership role now, and it probably is striking how fast it changes. Probably feels like not long ago you had seniors to look up to Emily Field or Annie Nash or Genevieve Johnson, and now that's you. Or for Karsin, in your case, Lainey Nichols was just, a senior year, freshman year, I think, as well as some other great players. So now that you all are leaders on the team, what do you try and bring to the table as a leader to help your younger teammates?
I would say freshman year, as you said, Genevieve, Emily, all those seniors were just great role models, and they kind of emphasized to pay attention in practice and give 100% in every single drill. And I think bringing that back as seniors is really important, and just getting everyone to focus up and pay attention, but also just creating a really good team environment for everyone.
Yeah, I think that leading by example is super important, and that's something that I know I try to do on the field, but also off the field, to make sure that those younger players that will eventually take over those leadership roles that we have right now know what's expected from them, what's possible for them to do, and how to carry out a legacy that's been so strong for so long.
Yeah. I really looked up to Molly Schuma and Olivia Schminke, that were always the hype man and always made sure everyone is in a good mood. So I feel one of my biggest roles is just making sure everyone's having a good day, make sure the freshmen are all excited, and just getting the locker room hype before games.
Also, shout out Kate Monaco, as I'm thinking back to who those seniors were. She was a great role model as well. Hagen?
Yeah, so for this year, running the state championship, how are y'all feeling about that?
We're just taking it game by game. We're not really looking more towards the state championship LIS. We're just taking game by game and learning different things every single game. But when that time comes, we're going to be ready.
Yeah, definitely. I think in past seasons, we've gotten too far ahead of ourselves with thinking about postseason and accolades and that kind of thing. And I think that this year we're really focusing on developing a strong foundation for our team to build on, so that by the time we get to that point, we're ready to go and ready to home with a ring.
Yeah, definitely. And also just in practices as being like team leaders, focusing on just making sure everyone is trying their hardest in every single practice just to work up to that win. And I know like some games we come off a little bit weaker in the first quarter, but just really trying to work on like Cape Henry game when we just started strong from the start. Yeah.
And I've only been able, the only game I've seen in person so far was First Colonial, and then I did watch some of the stream of Cape Henry, which is kind of ironic because those two schools are literally border each other, like share a fence. But those are the only games I've seen so far. But one thing I did notice is, some of you all as returning players are in seemingly different positions maybe than you played in the past. Darcy, you seem to be a little more defensive position than you used to play. And Karsin, you seem, at least the games I saw, more like right in the center of things where maybe Olivia maybe played last year, I think. Shep, I don't know if you're the same position, but Darcy, let me just start with you. Can you talk about playing a different position and the challenges that brings or the excitement that offers for you?
Yeah, it's definitely a new position for school play, but outside of school for club, I am pretty much just a defender. So it's not new entirely to me, so it's definitely not something that stresses me out playing further back, and I think that a big part of that decision and pushing me back was to have a voice behind everyone so that I can communicate moving forward and keep the lines in front of me organized.
Yeah, and definitely when I switched, like, Darcy plays right behind me. So, like, before the game, I'm like, Darcy, just tell me what I need to do. So, without Darcy, I would be all over the field. So,
So Darcy she's the voice.
Yeah, she's
for
the
sure
voice
back
of the
there.
defense, 100%.
Yeah, I can hear it from the forward line.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We need you to talk to your buddy Cece about that, because sometimes as a center back, we need her to be a little more vocal. So, in the spring. Hagen, you have another one?
Yeah. What does field hockey mean to y'all as a sport?
Well, I mean, it's just been such a huge part of my life for so long now that I think that field hockey for me is an outlet from everything else. Like, if I'm having a bad day, like, I'll stay after practice for 15 minutes and hit around, and it's just something that I can use to recenter myself, and I think that it's just become who I am in a way.
Yeah, I would say it kind of keeps me in line, like, so I don't have much off time. It just keeps me in line.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's also like just a way, like Darcy said, to get away from school and like just to have a break for your mind. A lot. Like yesterday, we stayed after practice and hit around and worked on corners, and it's kind of a way for me to procrastinate my homework, but it's also just like a fun space where like stress-free and really relaxing.
Yeah, definitely. And like,
go ahead. No, yeah.
And field hockey is also like, I've met some of my best friends through field hockey, and it's created a community and a family of people surrounding me that I can't imagine my life without the people I've met through the sport. So.
And it also gives you like a connection with the upperclassmen and lowerclassmen, which I think is really important going into high school.
For sure. Yeah, I was just going to confirm Darcy and Shep staying after practice yesterday because I coached an away game at St. Christopher's, got back here at like 6:45, and at 6:45, like I saw Darcy walk into her car in the senior lot, and I'm like, has the practice been over for a while? So she's not lying. She was here well into the evening, working extra to get ready and help her team. So Shep, you probably aren't going to play in college. Is that the deal? But Darcy, you are, and Karsin, you have recently committed. So I was going to ask each of you just to talk about, and we've still got a lot of the high school season left, and Karsin, you of course have yet another year after this one, but just to talk about the recruiting process, what went into your decision and your commitment, and just tell our viewers like what that was like.
Yeah, so
finding the right school.
Yeah, the recruiting process starts really young for field hockey. Like my freshman year, I was emailing schools that I was interested in, so I've kind of always known what I was looking for, and for me, academics was my priority. when I narrowed schools down, my top choices were all strong academic schools. And I chose William & Mary because I felt like it was the best balance between athletics and academics. There was a field hockey program that had been historically strong and with coaches that I connected with really well, and also Trinity's had multiple players go to William & Mary and have a ton of success in that program, so it felt like leaving one home and going to another.
My recruitment process was very stressful. It happened really fast, but I took a visit to Syracuse, and as soon as I stepped on campus, I just knew it was the place for me. I knew it was it just felt like me. And they also have the major that I wanted, which is sports broadcasting. So I just committed right there.
Yeah, Syracuse has, I think, one of, if not the best, sports broadcasting school in the country. Like a lot of in the sports broadcasting class we have here, like a lot of the famous broadcasters that we are studying are Syracuse grads.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I don't think you were quite prepared for that winter weather yet, though.
Yeah, no. My mom keeps bugging me about it. Pretty much anyone that I tell them if I tell them I'm committed to Syracuse, they're like, "Oh, you better be ready for the winter."
Yeah.
But they have tanning beds.
And you can come visit me in the summer.
An S-shaped hot tub.
Hagen, do you have any others?
I think that's about it.
All right, well, let's move on to a quick lightning round. Quick questions. First answer that pops in your head. I guess we'll just go, just down the line. Shep, Darcy, Carr. All right, first question. What's been your favorite class at Trinity?
Ooh, Mr. Hamlin's class. Sorry, I had to go first.
Thanks, Karsin.
Just in all 4 years.
Sure.
Yeah, I would go with your class, Mr. Hamlin.
Oh, thanks, Shep.
A lot of walks to the creek.
Probably IB English SL with Mr. Decker.
Mr. Hamlin's a really good actor, so he likes to act out the history.
Oh, thank you, Karsin. I appreciate that. Okay, pre-game, meal or snack?
Ooh. Well, the night before, I would go with a nice steak or
You have steak every night.
some pasta from Joe's Inn.
Mine's less of a snack but more of a drink. I always have liquid IV in my water the day of a game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with liquid IV, and the night before I had corn dog. But I will say, Shepard drives me to school every day and home from practice, and I'm like, Shep, what are you eating for dinner? She's like, steak. Every single night. Every
My
single
favorite
night.
food.
Me too. It's not. I don't eat it every day, but it's my favorite food. I'm jealous of you. Okay. Who's your funniest teammate?
Definitely Anna Reeser.
I think mine's a combination of these two together.
Okay.
Mine's is Lyle Grace.
Who is the teammate you most admire? You really respect?
I feel like there's a lot of different traits from different people to that are admirable, but I would say Darcy. She's just ever since I joined club in middle school, she's been such a hard worker and both with athletics and academics. And you can see your success you've had with that.
I would say there's a lot. It's hard. Probably Avery Johnson. I just think that for as quiet as she is, she's such a hard worker, and she'd never show it, but she's always pushing herself to do better, and she's just somebody who is always striving to improve. So
I would say Shep Daddy, because she is always in a good mood, and sometimes I let my emotions get the best of me, and Shepard just keeps me on track, because it's just good to see how even when she has a bad day, she's always in a good mood and always bringing people up.
Outside of the team, who's a person, could be a former teammate, family member, but someone in your life that you really look up to?
I would say my older brother, Tallman. he's played a lot of sports, and he's playing Division III tennis at Sewanee right now. But just seeing like how hard he worked to get there, especially with tennis, like it's definitely really hard to play in college, even D3. But just seeing, you know, like he'll hit the gym for 3 hours, go play tennis, go to the gym later. Like he's just constantly like working out and trying to be better, and it's definitely worked.
Easily my mom. She's my best friend, and our relationship is like no one else in my life, and I think that like she's my support system and just somebody who I would be so happy to turn out like.
Mine is probably Annie Sneed. Like, sometimes, don't get me wrong, I want to like punch her, but but because she's always like screaming at me, but I know like deep down she's just trying to make me a better player, and she loves me. So I've just always looked up to her, like since my freshman year.
She's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all those people are great that you said. I know all of them, and they're all great. Okay, let's just end with a couple more fun ones. If you could live anywhere in the world, money was no issue, you could afford it, where would you want to live?
Hawaii or Costa Rica?
Greece.
Asia.
Could you be more specific? Actually, probably you can't.
I don't know what's in Asia. I seriously don't know.
There's a lot of different countries, but I'm sure they're all lovely. And who is your... There's a lot of ways you could take this. Okay, it could be a team, a specific player. Could even be yourself, I guess. But like, who would you say is your biggest rival?
Collegiate.
Yeah, I'm a collegiate.
Collegiate.
And finish the following sentence. In 10 years, I hope to be...
Very successful with my job, but also living in Hawaii, surfing every day, owning like a smoothie shack on the side.
Just in a good place, like financially, the good job, happy with my family, you know.
Be super rich and married to an NFL player.
Karsin, I think by 10 years you might be on your second or third husband at that point.
Maybe.
Since Karsin has told me multiple times that her goal is to be married a lot of times. So that's really fun.
I just like to share the love.
That's great. All right, well, thank you all for being here. Guys, off to a good start this season with a ton more to go. As we film this, got a big one today against St. Catherine's, so best of luck in that game. To Shep, to Darcy, to Karsin, thank you all for joining us. I want to end with a shout out to Shep's grandmother, Karsin Ramsey, my elementary and middle school music teacher, Mrs. Ramsey.
Love you, Graham.
Love you. The only adult I was taller than in the second grade, but I love Miss Ramsey, and I hope you watch this. And thanks everybody for joining us. Stick around. We're going to do some athletes of the week, but thanks to our guests. Appreciate you guys. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamlin.
Thanks again.
And we are back. Wanted to give some athlete of the weeks. We've got Ben Schneider here with us now, joining Hagen and I. And so, been a good week in Titan Athletics. Ben, you got a shout out for athlete of the week?
Yeah, so mine is going to Kaylin Harris. She's an 8th grader on cross country. They were up at the FUMA Invitational. They got second as a team. She got 5th in the whole meet. So it's really impressive for such a young player to kind of be the star of that team.
Yeah, 8th grader. That was a huge meet. I think tons of teams. So to be in the top 5 for Kaylin is that's really impressive.
So for my player of the week, I'm going to say Ava Benson. I caught a little bit of the field hockey game yesterday, and just the way she played so selflessly and like just assists all over the place, corners. It's just a great game for her.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Ava's another field hockey player. We didn't have her in the interview, but she's been a huge contributor and 3-year starter, I think. And then for my athlete of the week, I'm going to cheat a little bit and go with the whole offensive line for football, because they were opening some great holes for Trey Grant, protecting Tegan, and football got a really impressive 35-6 win up at St. Mary's Riken in Maryland. That's a team that was our closest football game of all of last year. Only beat them by 3 or 4 points last year. So to go up to their home field and win decisively was impressive, and I think the O-line did a great job. So guys on that line, hope I don't forget any of them, but you got Ryan Mitchell, Cooper Gardner, Will Rosen, you got Brady Sakowitz, you got Patrick McGowan, I think Sean Hargan. So a lot of big dudes up there protecting Hagan, opening up the holes for Trey and James Woodward, and just letting all the offensive weapons shine. Brendan Ridley also had a huge game up there. So if there's any O-linemen I forgot, I'm really sorry. But Coach Mickens shouted them out at morning meeting on Monday, and those guys don't always get a lot of attention, but the offensive line had an awesome game for football on last Friday night. You guys had any thoughts, anything else you want to discuss before we sign off here?
Just excited for some more matches this week.
Yeah.
Soccer. Shout out to those games.
Yeah, I mean, every team's in action in the next few days, so we'll look forward to another podcast next week. Don't know who the guest will be. Just see who steps up and shines in the coming contest. But thanks, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate the folks that watch, and we'll see you next time.